Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Just one more little stop before we're ready to go. And there we are. Our teacher for this week is Gary Zukov. However, first thought that I want to share with you is not from Gary Zukov, but by Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman once wrote, this might be his most famous quote, he said, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." And I think that might be a really powerful statement. The acknowledgement, the recognition that I contain multitudes, and sometimes within myself there are things that contradict one another. I might have emotions that feel completely opposite at the same time. And we can be hard on ourselves for that and think that that means there's something wrong with us, or we can look at Walt Whitman's words and realize perhaps this just is the human condition. I'll read Walt Whitman's words one more time. Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. Good morning, Sanmari. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Nella. Awesome seeing you all here. So each of us exists as a collection of thoughts and emotions, a multitude with often contradicting feelings alive within us at the same time. Some of our thoughts and feelings become grouped together as an often repeated inner narrative associated with the same emotional response on repeat over and over again, creating a hardwired element of our personality. And we tend to have several of these hardwired groups of thoughts, feelings, emotions coming together as an often repeated narrative. These different parts of our personality can become triggered before we realize, and we might be completely unaware of how we are at the mercy of different narratives and emotions from one moment to the next. So our work then, our inner work, is to build an awareness of how our inner state shifts so that we can create for ourselves the space in which to be able to say, I see the old reaction and I choose a new response. I see how the old narrative plays out and I choose to create a new way of talking within myself. So from Gary Zukov, there's a couple of thoughts that speak very clearly to this theme. He says, the journey to wholeness requires that you look honestly, openly, and with courage into yourself, into the dynamics that lie behind what you feel, what you perceive, what you value, and how you act. Anthony, a very good morning to you, dude. It's awesome seeing you. The next thought from Gary Zukov says, the first step towards spiritual growth is to become aware of your emotions. The first step is building that awareness that becomes aware of how emotions shift, how I move from one emotion to the next. When you welcome your emotions as teachers, then every emotion brings good news, even the ones that are painful. And it's absolutely necessary that we get to the place where we welcome all of them, whatever emotion it might be feeling, especially the ones we don't like feeling so much. Have a welcoming place for the things that don't always feel great. The last thought from Gary Zukov is choosing to act from a loving part of your personality while you are feeling the painful sensations of a frightened part of your personality. This is the moment of traction on the spiritual path. And I love that last thought so much. Choosing to act from a part of yourself that is softer and feels love while you're experiencing a part of you that is triggered and feels pain, and perhaps because of that feels anger and aggression, choosing then, in the same moment, to act from the loving part of your personality. This is the moment of traction on your spiritual path. That's where things start to shift into place. Today's meditation is called a sense of self. And what we do in a very practical way is giving these different parts of ourselves, these different elements, and possibly the ones that we don't really like so much, giving them a bit of floor space, having them speak, having them be heard by us, so that we can start shifting that balance into something more healthy. Linda, a very good morning. It is awesome seeing you. Right, if you're ready, let's go on this journey together. You can close your eyes and let's float away, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. A deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. As you exhale, soften. As you breathe out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. Continue your full body breathing. For today's meditation, we are inviting those inner children to come and sit with us. In this open meditation, I like to use the simplest examples, and the examples today will be the part of you that might sometimes feel sad, part of you that might sometimes feel angry, or a part of you that sometimes might feel scared. You are welcome to use your own examples. You probably know better which parts of yourself you've been struggling to deal with. Call these inner children closer, and in my mind the picture always looks like a grade 1 teacher calling the children to come and sit on the carpet with her. It feels a bit like story time. And while you gather those inner children closer, continue your full body breathing and invite them to breathe along with you. I'll often ask you to try and form a picture of these inner children. And it's not important that you are successful in forming a picture. But in allowing yourself the openness to ask, what would this sad part of me look like? You're opening yourself to understanding what's there. You're opening yourself to creating an interface with a part of you that you can have a better relationship with. So as you continue your full body breathing, take a look at these inner children and imagine you could see them inhale and exhale along with you. Make the space as inviting as possible. While you look at them breathing, let them know that you really are here to listen. We're going to ask them to speak if they want to. We really want to hear what they have to say. And the truth is, we really want to understand. Understand how they feel and where they come from. Sometimes when we ask a question to one of these inner children, sometimes we get an instant response because that narrative really does live within us. Those neural pathways saying the same things have been formed over a long time. But sometimes we ask a question and the answer is not immediately forthcoming. Please know that if that happens, you're not doing it wrong. It's just how our brain works, and it means your subconscious will be reflecting on this, and you're likely to form a better understanding of it with time. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles, going forward and to the left, and also forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. You can lean your upper body over to the left and also lean your upper body over to the right. Think of it as dropping your right ear towards your right hip, and then dropping your left ear towards your left hip. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence as much as we are able to for right now, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is a really good place to stop. However, if you are here for the whole journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a long and slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slowly settles into every muscle of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. Feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation it invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath, but hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, remind yourself of these inner children you have invited to sit at your feet, and see if you can get a good look at sadness and anger and fear. What would they look like? Take your next big breath. We'll turn our attention first to sadness, the part of you that sometimes experiences the emotion of sadness. We are asking sadness to speak, and we really are here to listen. We would love to understand. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, remind yourself of the moment when you feel sad. How does sadness speak within you? What are the thoughts, the emotions, the narratives, the words? And are they often on repeat? Are they often the same thoughts, the same narratives on repeat again? Just remind yourself of what that sounds and feels like. Take your next big breath. As you turn towards sadness, you get a good look at what this part of you might look like. I'd love you to ask sadness a question, and just keep yourself in a space of openness as you ask this question to see if perhaps there's a response from this inner child. Say, sadness, when you feel this way, when you feel so sad, what is it that you are afraid will happen? What is it that you are afraid will happen? Take your next big breath. Could you let sadness know that this is a perfectly reasonable way to feel? That it's very human to sometimes feel this way. Thank you for sadness, for showing up today, for speaking, for being heard. It takes courage to be seen. So thank you, sadness. We'll turn our attention now to anger, the part of you that sometimes feels so angry. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, see if you can form a picture of what the angry part of you might look like. And ask anger to please speak. We are here to listen. As you take your big breath and dive deep inside, remind yourself of how anger speaks. What are the words, often on repeat? Take your next big breath. And if you could turn to this angry part of you and ask a question and hold yourself in a space of openness to see if perhaps an answer comes. As you turn towards anger, ask, anger, when you feel this angry, what is it that you really want for me? What is it that you really want for us? Take your next big breath. Can you let anger know that I can see how you're trying to be helpful? I can see that you have good intention. Thank you, anger, for speaking. Thank you for allowing yourself to be seen and heard. It takes courage. And then we'll turn our attention towards fear, the part of you that sometimes feels scared and feels very activated by fear. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, see if you can form a clear picture of what the scared part of you might look like. And say, fear, I'm here to listen. I would like to learn and understand. So as you take your next big breath and dive deep inside, remind yourself of how it is that fear speaks when it wakes up inside of you. What are the thoughts? What are the thoughts about? What are the feelings? What narrative is on repeat when you feel scared? Take your next big breath. Then turn towards the scared part of you and ask this question, and just hold yourself in a space of openness. See if perhaps an answer comes. Say, fear, in those moments that you feel so scared, what is your deep desire for me? What is it that you really want for us? Take your next big breath. Could you give fear some gratitude and say, that is a perfectly reasonable way of feeling. It's just a very human experience. And I can see how you're trying to be helpful. Thank you. You're very brave for showing yourself today and being seen and heard. We have the last few breaths of this phase to do together, and see if you can ask these inner children to take these deep breaths along with you, and also Where would they like to be while we take these breaths together? Would they like to sit closer to you? Would they like you to hold them? Wherever it works for you, let's take these breaths together. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, invite softness to come and settle into every fiber of your being. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. We all have, like weather flowing in and flowing out, we have a constant shift and change in our inner state. Emotions, thoughts, feelings, narratives. Our job is to build a greater awareness of our own inner world and how our state shifts from one to the other. These inner narratives, emotions, feelings, however we want to refer to them, inner children, are often grabbing for the wheel and from a place of fear trying to be in control. In an exercise like this, we are practicing taking a step back. And instead of getting caught up in fear or anger, our step back gives us a good view of our own fear or anger. If we get involved in an argument with, a war with our inner world, then we're just creating more fear in our system. And our scared narratives will grab for the wheel even harder, trying to be in control simply because they're scared. In a moment of taking a step back and having a good view of the scared part of you or the sad part of you, it is clear who's in the driver's seat right now. In this moment of stepping back, you are being the wisest version of you. Who is in the driver's seat is your soul. But we can only consistently do this if we build a really good awareness of the workings of our inner world. I'll read to you again these thoughts from Gary Zukav. think he has a beautiful explanation of this. He says the journey to wholeness requires that you look honestly, openly, and with courage into yourself, into the dynamics that lie behind what you feel, what you perceive, what you value, and how you act. The first step towards spiritual growth is to become aware of your emotions. When you welcome your emotions as teachers, every emotion brings good news, even the ones that are painful. Choosing to act from a loving part of your personality while you are feeling the painful sensations of a frightened part. This is the moment of traction on the spiritual path. Thank you for your courage to call your inner children closer and form a new, stronger relationship, healthier relationship with your own inner world. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you to these inner children that form a part of our inner worlds. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for this practice that helps me form a much better understanding of how my inner narratives bounce off on one another, sometimes trigger me and flood me. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for coming to the understanding that everything inside of me is actually trying to be helpful. Even if it's misguided, I never see it, I never understand it as self-sabotage. It's trying to be helpful. But I have to find the place of wisdom from where to decide whether I'll follow this action or not. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for developing that place of wisdom into a stronger presence, simply by creating the space for the scared parts to be seen and heard and held. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for your own courage. Thank you for you being brave. Vivian, a very good morning. It's awesome seeing you. Hello, Leshna. Good morning to you. Judy, good morning. Stephen, good morning. Awesome having you all here. I know I repeat this one often, but it always bears repeating, and it's the words of Rainer Maria Rilke that speaks of our inner, we tend to want to call them demons, inner demons. And in a piece he wrote, he called them dragons. A slightly more noble picture, perhaps. And his conclusion about these inner dragons was that perhaps everything that scares you is only something that is afraid and in need of your love. And that is certainly how I've come to see and understand everything inside of ourselves. Nothing inside of you wants to harm you. Nothing inside of you wants to sabotage you. It's all trying to help you cope. Might be misguided, but we can work with that until we have more of a wholeness in our system. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Sunmuddy. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Anthony. I love that thought, dragon meditation. I love that, Nella, your inner dragons are at peace. I love dragons for this picture. I enjoy dragon lore. Let me leave you with a thought. And this is why I love dragon lore so much. This thought goes like this: real heroes don't slay dragons, they ride them. Which takes more courage? Does it take more courage to fight dragons? Or does it take more courage to learn to understand dragons? To be able to have a mutually beneficial relationship with a dragon and be able to ride it? And is it not exactly the same for our inner dragons? Doesn't it take more courage to understand what's there and become a dragon rider? I love the picture. Thanks again, Stephen and Linda. Dragons just want to fly. Have a beautiful day and get to know your dragons and do fly them. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.